Day 1 of Browns camp didn't just shock Cleveland, it set the entire NFL on fire. A rookie no one expected, wearing number 12, didn't just compete. He owned the field, the fans, and maybe the entire franchise. If you think this is hype, you're not ready. Training camp mornings in Cleveland usually feel the same. Fans roll in with coffee cups and folded lawn chairs, waiting for a glimpse of their team. Reporters huddle by the rope line, cameras prepped, notebooks ready. Coaches whistle through warm-ups, while quarterbacks throw easy tosses to loosen up. It's routine, predictable, the calm before the grind. But this morning didn't stay calm for long. Everyone came expecting the usual names to dominate the chatter. Joe Flacco, the steady veteran, Kenny Pickett, the familiar Dillon Gabriel, the third-round rookie, the Browns had handpicked as their project. The script was written before anyone even hit the field. It wasn't supposed to be about the kid wearing number 12, the so-called QB4, the son of Dylan Sanders, a fifth-rounder, that half the league called too confident for his own good. And yet, by the time the first throws were made, the story had changed. Shaduer Sanders didn't just step onto the field, he flipped it upside down. His first set of passes, tight spirals cutting through the morning air, drew gasps from the crowd. Before a single full drill started, you could hear it. Fans murmuring his name, voices rising into chants, phones shooting video as if something historic had just begun. Every rep from Shaduer felt alive. His timing, his footwork, the way he carried himself, it didn't look like a fourth-string rookie easing into camp. It looked like a quarterback auditioning for Sundays, and the energy was contagious. The crowd leaned forward. Teammates took notice. Even reporters shifted their cameras toward number 12, sensing a story they hadn't planned to cover. Then came the moment. One throw, a sideline rope that hit his receiver in stride, sparked a roar loud enough to drown out the coach's whistles. It felt like more than just a completion. It felt like a warning shot to the entire depth chart. From that throw forward, one thing was clear. The Browns' quarterback plan wasn't just being tested, it was being blown apart. From the first competitive snap, it stopped feeling like a camp warm-up and started feeling like a showcase. Shaduer Sanders wasn't just throwing passes, he was putting on a clinic. Every dropback was smooth, every motion compact, every release lightning fast. Spirals cut through the air like they were pulled by a string, and each ball landed exactly where it was supposed to. Every crosser, every sideline out, every red zone fade. They looked like they were ripped straight from a Sunday highlight reel. The footwork was sharp, the timing automatic, and his connection with receivers felt like something months in the making, not a rookie learning the ropes and the fans. They couldn't sit still. Every strike sparked cheers, every touchdown. Toss-in drills had phones up, social feeds buzzing, and tweets flying out before the next rep even started. It felt less like a training session and more like a sneak preview of a new era. Then Dylan Gabriel stepped up. This was supposed to be his show, the third-rounder with the supposed edge. The guy, analysts said, was a better fit because he was drafted higher, coachable, and safe. But the difference was glaring from the first snap. Gabriel's throws were late. A few wobbled out of his hand, one sideline route sailed high, drawing groans from the stands. Another skipped off the turf before reaching his target. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't commanding. Not in a room where every eye was waiting for someone to claim the job. And the worst part, you could feel the shift. Fans weren't just watching, they were comparing. Every time Gabriel missed, murmurs grew louder. Every time Shaduer threw a dart, the chants came back. In the middle of a quarterback battle, not awful, doesn't win the day. Decisive, confident, electric, that wins. And on day 1, only one quarterback looked like he had all three. The Browns can call it a competition if they want. But if Shaduer Sanders is this sharp without pads, without a real pass rush, without even a full playbook unleashed, what happens when the pads come on? By the time practice hit its midway point, the buzz around the field felt different. It wasn't just applause for a good throw anymore. It was an atmosphere, a momentum, something building every time Shaduer Sanders stepped under center. Fans weren't just watching him, they were claiming him. Jerseys with 12-stitched in Sharpie ink started popping up in the crowd, even though official Sanders jerseys haven't even hit the shelves. Kids leaned over barricades, screaming, "QB1," after every completion. When he jogged from one drill to the next, Phones rose like a wave, capturing every stride as if he were already the starter. And it wasn't just the fans feeding that energy. Inside the ropes, you could see it happening, players quietly gravitating toward him, rookies warming up next to him, mimicking his footwork. Second-year receivers pulling him aside for extra reps between drills, even some veterans, the ones who rarely speak unless it matters, watching from the sideline with raised eyebrows and nods. Nobody said it out loud, but you could feel it. They were buying in. It wasn't forced. It wasn't hype spun by a PR team or headlines from a blog. It was organic. Because when a rookie walks in and throws like that, moves like that, and carries himself like he belongs, players take notice. And when players start rallying behind a guy before the coaches do, the entire dynamic of a team can flip overnight. Every chant from the stands, every sideline nod from a teammate, every extra rep he gets with the guys who want to catch passes from him, it all feeds a growing truth the Browns can't ignore much longer. This isn't just a rookie catching fire at camp. This is the start of a movement. One the fans are already leading, and one the locker room is beginning to follow. And once that happens, it doesn't matter what the depth chart says. The question isn't if Shaduer Sanders will rise. It's how long the Browns can hold back the tide before the demand for QB1 becomes deafening. For anyone at camp that day, the truth felt obvious. Shaduer Sanders outperformed everyone. The throws, the poise, the command, it wasn't close. But if you turned on local sports radio or flipped through headlines the next morning, you'd imagined it. Because the narrative, it didn't match the reality. ESPN Cleveland had Tony Gracchi on air, brushing off Sanders' breakout by calling him a 4-year plan, a project, someone the Browns don't want to rush. At the same time, Gabriel, the third-round pick, who sailed passes and missed reads all morning, was described as on track, with the intangibles to grow into the role. It's a script we've seen before. The guy drafted higher. The safe choice gets the benefit of the doubt, while the rookie who actually won the day gets told to wait his turn. And the excuses, they change every time. One day, it's he's too raw. The next, we need to see him against starters. Tomorrow, it'll be draft investment matters. The goalposts aren't just moving, they're sprinting. Downfield, and everyone sees it. Some fans are whispering what the media won't. Why the leash is so short for Sanders and so long for Gabriel. Is it just stubbornness? Fear of admitting they got the draft wrong? Or is there something deeper? The politics of protecting a coachable, controllable player over a confident, independent one. Maybe even something uglier. Something that always lingers when a player like Sheduer doesn't fit the mold. Because this isn't just about football. Sanders isn't just a rookie quarterback. He's a brand, the son of Deion Sanders. Someone who brings his own spotlight, his own expectations, his own energy. To old-school executives, that confidence isn't leadership, it's insubordination. Meanwhile, Gabriel, he says the right things, waits his turn, smiles for the cameras. He's safe, predictable, and so, no matter what happens on the field, the story gets spun. But that's the problem with spin. It only works when the fans can't see the truth. On day one, they saw who controlled the offense, who drew the cheers, and who had the locker room's attention. They also saw who kept getting propped up despite struggling. The Browns can keep pretending the plan is working. But the longer they do, the louder the question becomes. Are they protecting their investment or protecting their pride? Numbers don't tell the whole story in football, but sometimes they make the story impossible to ignore. Before the gates even opened for training camp, the whispers were there. Closed OTA sessions painted a clear picture. Shaduer Sanders completed 77% of his passes, tossed 9 touchdowns, and threw just 1 interception off a tipped ball. He did it with fewer reps than anyone ahead of him and against defenses designed to challenge him. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, more reps, softer defensive looks, and still struggling to string together clean drives. His completion percentage hovered in the low 60s. Turnovers, timing breakdowns, nothing catastrophic, but nothing that screams QB1 material either. And when camp went public, those trends didn't just continue, they exploded. Ball came out quick, clean, and confident. He threaded intermediate crossers with precision, floated red zone fades over defenders' outstretched hands, and ripped deep outs that hit his receivers in stride. The crowd reacted to each one like It was a game-winning drive. Every completion drew applause. Every touchdown drew cheers. Phones came out, social feeds lit up, and by the end of the first team period, his name was trending locally. Gabriel, though, the opposite. A sideline out that wobbled and hit the turf had fans shaking their heads. A high throw forced his receiver to leap awkwardly, drawing audible groans. One mistimed crosser nearly got picked, leaving the crowd murmuring. None of it was disastrous, but all of it felt like confirmation. This wasn't hype. It wasn't just camp buzz. The tape, the stats, and the live eye test all said the same thing. Shaduer Sanders isn't just holding his own, he's winning. And yet, the depth chart doesn't show it. Because while the numbers don't lie, the politics around the Browns' quarterback room sure make the depth chart feel like it does. To really understand why day one at Browns camp feels like a story boiling over, you have to rewind to draft night. Shaduer Sanders was supposed to be a top pick. Over 4,100 passing yards, 37 touchdowns. The highest sack total survived in Power 5 football, and still producing, he proved he could take hits, command an offense, and keep producing even when chaos surrounded him. And yet, round after round, his name slipped. Teams passed. Analysts shrugged, and somehow, the quarterback who'd done everything but walk on water ended up a fifth-round pick. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, shorter, less productive, never tested behind a collapsing line, went 2 rounds earlier. Why? Ask around, and you'll hear the same whispers. Mechanics, timing, scheme fit. But peel back the layers, and it starts sounding a lot less like football and a lot more like control. Shaduer didn't play their game. He came into interviews with his own brand, his own vision, and a confidence that made certain NFL executives uncomfortable. To some, that swagger looked like leadership. To others, it looked like a problem. A rookie who wouldn't fall in line. Gabriel, on the other hand, he checked every box. Safe, coachable, predictable. The kind of quarterback who doesn't make waves, doesn't question the plan, and waits his turn without a sound. And in the eyes of cautious front offices, that felt easier, safer. So when the draft cards were turned in, Shaduer was punished for his confidence. Gabriel was rewarded for being comfortable. But here's the twist. Decisions made in boardrooms don't stay buried forever. Because now, with fans watching, with cameras rolling, and with every snap magnified, those draft night choices are getting exposed. And the Browns are finding out that when you ignore production for politics, eventually, the field tells the truth. Before Shaduer Sanders even threw a pass at Browns camp, Cleveland already knew his name, and not because of a highlight reel. Weeks before the first whistle blew, while most rookies were cashing endorsement checks or chasing photo ops, Sheduer was doing something different. He was standing on the streets of Cleveland, hosting a fundraiser for families devastated by the Rainbow Terrace apartment fire. 40 families displaced, 1 life lost, kids left with nothing but soot-stained toys, no NFL cameras, no PR crew, just Sanders organizing donations, handing out meals, and quietly investing his own money to help people he didn't even know. And here's what makes it matter. None of the other quarterbacks on the Browns' depth chart did anything like it. Not Dylan Gabriel, not Kenny Pickett, not even the veteran Joe Flacco. Because this isn't just about who can throw a prettier deep ball. Cleveland isn't just watching for highlight plays, it's watching for heart. They want a quarterback who doesn't just wear the jersey on Sunday, but carries the city Monday through Saturday. And in that way, Shaduer has already become something more than a rookie fighting for reps. He's become a face the community believes in. A leader off the field before anyone officially calls him one on it. So when fans show up to camp wearing 12 written on blank t-shirts, when kids chant his name louder than any other quarterback, it's not just about performance, it's about trust. And for Cleveland, trust isn't something you buy with a draft pick or a highlight reel, it's something you earn, and Shaduer Sanders has been earning it since the day he showed up. By the end of day one, it wasn't just fans buzzing. Inside the Browns facility, the whispers started. Players talk, they always do. And the talk wasn't about Joe Flacco's veteran calm or Kenny Pickett's steady presence. It was about the rookie, the one technically buried at QB4 on the depth chart, but playing like he belonged at the top. Wideouts, who spent extra reps. With Sheduer, we're saying it quietly in the locker room. Are we really giving the best guy a fair shot? Rookies who warmed up next to him were wondering why the guy who ran the offense smoother than anyone wasn't getting first-team looks. Even some veterans, guys who rarely wade into quarterback drama, were starting to raise eyebrows. Because when you see a player winning over a crowd, commanding the field, and stacking better reps than the competition, it gets harder to ignore. And every snap Dylan Gabriel takes now feels different, not earned, political. It's not that Gabriel is failing spectacularly, he's not. But every hesitation, every mistimed throw, every safe checkdown feels magnified. The fans feel it, the players feel it, and the unspoken question lingers louder with each rep. Why isn't the guy who's outplaying everyone getting the reps that matter? That's where the danger creeps in. When a locker room believes one thing and the front office pushes another, cracks start forming, trust erodes. Players stop buying the process and start questioning the motives. And the Browns? They can't hide this much longer. The crowd chants are only getting louder. The players are watching closely. And every highlight Sheduer drops onto social media makes the gap between what's happening on the field and what's happening on the depth chart harder to explain. This isn't just a quarterback battle anymore. It's a collision course. Fans, teammates, and momentum pulling one way, the front office clinging to the other. And sooner or later, the Browns will have to pick a side. For Cleveland fans, this isn't just another quarterback debate. It's another chapter in a story. They're sick of living. The Browns have been through more quarterbacks in the last 2 decades than some franchises cycle through in a lifetime. First-rounders who flamed out, veterans who barely lasted a season, projects who never developed, each time the city was told to trust the process. And each time, that trust was broken. Now, the stakes aren't just about who starts week 1. It's about whether this franchise can finally stop repeating history. The fans are watching, not just with excitement, but with skepticism. They've seen how this movie usually ends. A rookie with spark gets buried behind the plan. The front office clings to the safe choice, and by the time the better player finally sees the field, the season's already slipping away. The locker rooms, watching 2 BHs, know when someone can lead, they know when someone has the juice. And nothing kills trust faster than watching the best guy sit while someone else gets the nod because of politics or pride. And so the question echoes louder with every rep, every cheer, every headline. Can Cleveland afford to get this one wrong? Again, because this isn't just about who's under center. It's about the trust of a city that's been burned too. Many times, it's about a locker room that needs a leader it can rally behind. And it's about whether the Browns front office is finally ready to stop playing it safe and start playing to win. For a franchise haunted by quarterback mistakes, making the wrong call here wouldn't just sting. It could break whatever trust they have left. The Browns can only hold the line for so long. Day 1 of camp didn't just shift the conversation, it shoved the organization to a breaking point. The decision is no longer about patience or development or the plan. It's about survival. Either elevate Shaduer Sanders now, ride the wave of momentum, and give the fans in the locker room the quarterback they've already chosen, or risk watching the situation spiral into something the front office can't control, because every snap Dylan Gabriel takes while struggling, every crisp throw Shaduer delivers, every chant of QB1 that echoes from the stands pushes this from a camp storyline into a national firestorm. The media won't stay quiet forever. Local reporters are already hinting. National shows are one viral highlight away from making Sanders versus Gabriel the headline everyone's debating. And when that moment comes, it won't just be about football anymore, it'll be about credibility. Fans will start asking why the Browns ignore what's happening in front of them. Players will start questioning if the depth chart is about talent or politics. And once that trust cracks, it's almost impossible to fix. The Browns thought they had a timeline. They thought they had control. But when a rookie steps into camp and ignites the fan base, wins the room, and looks like the best quarterback on the field, that timeline doesn't matter anymore. Every throw Sheduer makes, every cheer that shakes the bleachers, is a reminder the clock is ticking. Either the Browns embrace the moment, or they risk getting buried by it. Should Shaduer Sanders start week 1? Are the Browns finally ready to rewrite history, or will they repeat it, letting another potential franchise savior sit while the season slips away? What would you do if you were Kevin Stefanski? Stick to the plan or unleash the rookie? Already captured the fans, the locker room, and the city. Drop your thoughts in the comments, like if you believe Shaduer deserves his shot. And subscribe, because this quarterback battle isn't cooling down anytime soon. This is only the beginning.